Coming up on the UB Basketball Insider, we'll get you ready for a big one today. It's the UB women's team in a rematch of the MAC championship as they host Central Michigan here at Alumni Arena, a 2 o'clock tip-off. Mid-American Conference Commissioner John Steinbrecher was in town to sit down with Felicia Leggett-Jack. Our very special edition of the UB Basketball Insider starts right now.
Basketball fans, on your feet. Here come your Bulls.
Jordan all the way to the hoop. Lines one up with the right hand. Melvin Williams in there to follow and jam it home with two hands. What a dunk by Janathan Williams.
It's about us. It's just our sisterhood, our foxhole, and we don't compare ourselves to anybody else. We're ready to go. We're ready to play anybody tomorrow.
Jumps the pass, gets the steal, gets some contact, no foul, goes back up this time, gets the and one.
It's time to show everybody out there what we build here in Buffalo. Let there be no question who the hardest playing team was, and when we get to the end of this deal tonight.
Well, just last week, MAC Commissioner John Steinbrecher came to town. He sat down with Felicia Leggett-Jack because he wanted to know how her playing and coaching career has helped turn the Bulls into a MAC women's basketball power. It's time for our conversation with the commish.
Today, we're pleased to be joined with Felicia Leggett-Jack,
Yes.
who is in her 7th season as the head coach of the University at Buffalo Bulls. Thanks for getting together with me.
Oh, it's an honor. It's a privilege. Thank you so much, sir, for coming.
Okay, Coach, here's the situation.
Uh-oh.
It's we're in the final minute of the conference championship game. You've got the ball. You're working it on offense. Shot goes up, clangs off the rim. You get the rebound with about 0.5 of a second, and your player is fouled. But the player who rebounded the ball, who's going to go to the line now to shoot a 1-and-1, is your worst free throw shooter. Mm-hmm. You get to the line, other team calls a timeout.
Yes.
Your team comes over.
Yeah.
What are you saying to the young lady going to the line? What are you saying to your team?
Well, I say, when you make this free throw, it's going to take us into a tie, correct? And then when we tie the game, we're going to have the second opportunity to take another free throw. And when you make that next free throw, we're going to take the lead. I don't want anybody fouling, okay? I want somebody on the ball. Okay, when she makes the first one, takes us to a tie. The second one's going to take us to the lead. I just want us to know that we can't foul.
Very good. What do you enjoy the most about being a coach?
I love being around young people that evolves into young women in their tenure with me. They come in with their eyes so wide open. They're so ready to learn. They're so afraid of their future. They're so afraid of their voices when they're young women, particularly our taller young women, and to reestablish who they are and make it something bigger than they ever imagined by just reassuring their voice matters and that they are enough. And to have them claim that, and by the end of their 4 years, to walk out with their shoulders back and equipped for the road ahead, that's bigger than any win. That's bigger than any academic accolade that they can ever have. The shoulders back and ready to take on the world. It's the most humbling thing a coach can ever be charged with and to receive at the end of a 4-year student-athlete's tenure. You
know, you were graduated from Syracuse. You were a great player. When you left Syracuse, I believe you were their all-time leading scorer and rebounder.
Yes, sir.
Big East Rookie of the Year, 3-time All-League honors. I mean, wow.
Wow,
really impressive.
You know, homework.
But what started you down the path of basketball and took you from player to coach?
Well, I was the shyest person you ever want to meet. And I know that seemed like a surprise because I don't ever stop talking. But I walked with my head down to the 10th grade. And my brother always said to me, since the 5th grade, why don't you do something? You just seem I was this big. I was 6 feet in the 5th grade. And he challenged me to do something with myself. And I saw he and my other brother play basketball. So I began playing basketball. And I became a natural at it. And when I went to high school, I started playing, and every time I got in the gym, I realized that I got more confident in myself. And around that 10th grade, I was able to look people in their eyes. I was never able to look people in their eyes, and that gave me my confidence. It's this sport, and that's why I'm so indebted to this game of basketball, because of all the things I became because of it. And I was going to be a pro. I was going to go overseas. I was going to do all those fun things. But my senior year, I blew my knee out. And in my college career, I played 38 minutes a game. I never sat out, so I never really saw the game from a coach's perspective. And then that knee injury comes my senior year, where I was going to be an All-American. And he forced me to sit down and see the game from a coach's perspective. And I just was in awe of all the things that you can learn and challenge and do from a coaching side of the ball. And that was when I said, this is what I want to do. I want to coach.
What did you learn, aside from I want to coach, what did you take away from, you're an injured player. You'd never had that before. You'd been out on the court the whole time. Now you're on the bench.
Right.
Do you think that's changed your perspective or given you, helped you be a coach now and be empathetic to what's going down up and down your bench?
It absolutely does. You know, when you're in the mix of it and you're playing, and then all of a sudden it's taken away. Something is taken away from you. Like these players come into on your team, and they're the stars of all their respective high schools, and now all of a sudden I'm saying you are just not ready to be a part of the starters or this top 8 right now. Doesn't mean that you're not great. Doesn't mean that you're terrible. It's just right now for the system that we have. But to have a kid to go through that, that's really challenging. And that's what the story I share with my players. I know it's hard for you to say. I know that you don't feel like you're worthy of, and I'm questioning your ability. I'm not. It's just not your time right now. So work in the dark. Continue to work on your craft, and you never know when your time is going to come. I'm a coach that plays about 9 or 10 players out of a full roster. It's just really hard to play all 15 or 16 in my case. But it doesn't mean that you're not good enough. It just means that it's not time for you to be on the court right now. And I think because of my injury, my senior year in college in 1988 has equipped me to teach these young people how to just kind of wait their turn, but not patiently. Never be patient.
Coming up, we continue our conversation with the commish as Coach Jack talks about last year's trip to the Sweet 16, and she talks about her own basketball superstars at home. That's next on UB Basketball Insider.
Welcome back to UB Basketball Insider. This segment is presented by CEFQ, changing lives every day.
Along with being a coach, Felicia is a mom, and she couldn't be more proud of her son Maceo, who's a Division I basketball player at George Washington University. That, along with last year's run to the Sweet 16, is the topic of Part 2.
As a coach, are there other coaches that you've looked to as mentors, or that you've said, if I could emulate style, how they handle themselves, just what they do, are there people that you point to?
Joanne P. McCauley, who's at Duke, she's a really good friend of mine. She's a mentor and a friend, and I love how she gets the most out of her players. I love my son Maceo. My son Maceo, I think that he's going to be a very good coach in his own right. I bounce a lot of things off of him, and he answers the questions in some fun ways that I say, I never thought of it this way. And I have my philosopher as my husband, who, you do the pillow talk, you do the home talk, and he and I are so different. I'm like, and he's so calm, he's so cool, and he comes from a different perspective, from a volleyball guy to a basketball coach, but it's so calm and different than I can imagine.
Let's talk about Maceo. I believe he's a sophomore at GW,
yes.
George Washington, and a really good player.
Yes.
And so you're only a couple years removed from him going through the recruiting process.
Yes.
And in that case, you're on the other side of the table. You're the mother.
Yes.
Listen to all these coaches come in, talk to your son, and try to sell you on their program.
Mm-hmm.
How has that affected you or changed in any way how you recruit?
No. I think the people that came into our lives were very professional and very honest and open, and it kind of like the way I want to coach myself. But the interesting thing is, David and my husband David and my son Maceo took the trip to George Washington by themselves, and they called me to tell me that they made a decision. And so they kind of left me out. So I laugh at that, but I think he made the best decision for himself. Political science major, 5 blocks from the White House, 3.0 student, and he can play the game at a pretty good clip too. God is good to me.
What's more stressful, coaching your team or watching your son?
Without a mustard seed of a doubt, watching my son play. This takes, I think I die a slow death every time he gets on the court. At first I say, please don't let him get injured. And then I want him to be great. Then I want his team to win. Then I want all these things go through my mind. I'm like, after his game, I'm so exhausted. I'm like, did I just run 10 miles or what? I just want, so I understand what these parents go through because I go through it with them. It's not easy. It's not fun. But I trust the people that's in charge of him, and I trust he's going to give his best effort.
Let's talk about recruiting. It's such a key part of being a college coach. What makes a good recruiter?
I don't know. I don't even know if I'm a good recruiter. I just tell the truth, and I don't recruit kids that's what people call the top 20 in the country, top 30, and look on these things. Oh, I got to recruit her because of that. I recruit kids that can fit the style of play that I coach, that can play for me. I'm not easy. And those kids aren't always right here in their backyard. The majority of my kids come from overseas. I like the mature athlete. I like the kid that don't need to be chased to class. That could be a junior college kid or a regular 4-year prep school. I just want somebody to understand that when they come to Buffalo or play for me, the challenge is you have to give 100% to yourself every day. Every single second is always something that I'm watching to make certain that young person leaves me 4 years later. That's going to be a product of our society. It's going to be a viable option. So I don't get a lot of kids that's amazing because I look real deep down to find the right ones for me.
You know, we're less than a year removed from, last year was a tremendous season for the Bulls. You're having another good season this year, I would add, but you make it to you win a division title, you make it to the conference tournament finals, a great game there, at-large bid to the NCAA tournament, and then you go in and knock off 6th-seeded South Florida and 3rd-seeded Florida State on their floor. What has that meant to the program?
Growth, just growth. Nothing more than that, nothing less than that. It's just growth, and I just, wherever I have ever been, my hope is to have it grow and be different from when I got there. And if I can see growth in all that I've done, I feel like we've accomplished something. And it doesn't always equate to wins. I thought we grew Indiana. I thought we grew Hofstra. I thought we grew Michigan State and the other universities I've been through. And sometimes you get some hard lessons and you cry about certain things. But if I can see growth, I feel like then my time was not in vain there, and nor did they make a bad decision by bringing me to be a part of their university. So we've grew this thing here at Buffalo. We grew it incrementally, but there's a lot more area up top that we want to take it. And as long as I'm here, I want to continue to see that one word called growth.
What's your, you probably have lots of great memories of NCAA tournament last year, run to the Sweet 16. What's your best memory of that time?
Well, it was when that freshman class last year graduated last year. They came in and they're like, Coach, we may not be the best talent, we may not be the tallest or the fastest, but we're going to be the most committed. We're going to stay to the end, and our hope is that we can make you proud. And that those 5 seniors that came through, Cassie, Stephanie, Lisa, Mariah, and Catherine, they stayed to the end and they made it change. And for that, I'll always be indebted to those young people who really believed in their word and believed in this old lady here, and together we made a difference.
Coming up, Conversations with the Commish continues. Coach Jack describes how she prepares her team for the postseason. UB Basketball Insider continues in a moment.
Welcome back to UB Basketball Insider. This segment is presented by Town BMW, the official auto partner of UB Athletics.
Today, here at Alumni Arena, 2 o'clock, it's the regular season game of the year between the Bulls and defending MAC champion Central Michigan. How does Felicia Legette-Jack get her team ready for today and then ready for the MAC tournament? It's part 3 of our conversation with the commissioner.
As we're taping this, we're heading really into the last half of the season. And as you set up the season before it starts, how do you look at that entire journey? I mean, that's a 4 or 5 month, maybe longer, depending if you get an NCAA tournament and something. How do you try to set that up? How do you try to break it up?
You know, a lot of coaches are so smart, a lot smarter than me. And I don't know how to do it that way. I just go one day at a time. And I know there's 4 seasons. Everybody says spring, winter, fall, and another one, spring, winter, whatever. But I say it's the reason why I don't think the other way. I think it's preseason, non-conference, conference, and postseason. And I really don't like having just 3 seasons. I want that 4th season. And so that's the only thing I do. And there's a preseason, we work on certain things. Non-conference, we work on certain things. Conference, we work on certain things. And our prayer is that we get to postseason. But, you know, tomorrow's not promised. It's not promised to anyone. And so I always tell my players, if he takes it away from you today, what will be your legacy? What will they remember you from? You don't have it tomorrow. And so we go after practice every day as if it's our last, whether it's a game or a practice. And so it seemed to work better that way and go faster for me and for our team.
Do you practice the same as you get into conference tournament time and NCAA tournament time as you would in the middle of the season?
No, we shorten the practices. It just gets too long. We'll go. You get 4 hours a day. I never go 4 hours a day. 2.5 the most you'll see our team practice. But by the time, like right around now, we're going 1.5 hours, watching a lot more film, doing individual workouts with my coaches and the players. But when it comes to a team getting together, we probably go 1.5 hours right now. And by the end of February, we're probably about an hour. Just what the other team's going to do. There's no reason to be doing the 3-player weave, the 5-player break. You know, let's get in there. Let's hit it with the real stuff. Get out of there. You need to get more cardio. Get on the treadmill. Get in the weight room with Coach A. Work with my coaches. But I want them to really realize it's a long season. You know, we are one of the few teams that go over 2 semesters. I want them to love this game and yearn for it. If you keep it 4 hours, in my opinion, they're going to get bored with it and they're going to never want to play it again. So our kids, I'm very fortunate that they seem to love it enough to want to go pro and want to keep playing, want to coach, because I think that we shorten it up for them, that they kind of miss it sometimes.
If there was one NCAA rule you could change, what would it be?
I don't know. It's not too many things are wrong. If there's equality is what I really believe in. I really think women's basketball is here to stay. I think that we've made a major imprint on what sport can look like at the highest level. We've brought in attendance. If we get the same marketability as the men's team, those same people will come and watch us play. I think they'll enjoy our game a lot more if we get them into the gym. I think since we've been here, we've grown our attendance incrementally because the people that came stayed and brought a friend. And I think this time that we got to consider paying the women's basketball coaches equal to the men. And I don't understand why it hasn't happened yet and what's the major difference.
Felicia, thank you for your time. Good luck down the stretch.
Bless your heart. Thank you so much,
And I'll look forward to seeing you at some games coming up soon.
Really, thank you for all you've done for our conference. You've grown it so much in the last 7 years that I've been here. I'm certain it's been a long trajectory for you since you've been here, but it's an honor and a privilege to work for you, sir.
It's a great team effort.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us on Conversations with the Commish.
Coming up, we give you the top 5 plays from the women's hard-fought battle with Kent State. That's next on UB Basketball Insider.
This is UB Basketball Insider, presented by ECMC, the difference between healthcare and true care.
In celebration of Black History Month, the University at Buffalo is honoring major contributors to UB athletics. Coach Ed Wright. Wright's career as a head coach, teacher, and administrator spanned more than 40 years. Beginning in 1970, when the University at Buffalo made NCAA history by hiring him as the first African-American hockey coach in the country. As such, his path would not be easy, but it was nothing his early life hadn't prepared him for. Wright's impact at UB extended well beyond the ice, touching countless students' lives through his role as Director of Intramural Programs. Ed retired in 2012 as Head of Academic Instruction for the Division of Athletics. During his 4 decades with the Bulls, Ed not only coached student athletes, he also changed lives and the way people think.
Last Saturday, the Bulls had a big win over Kent State. Let's take a look back at some of the big moments from a big victory over a MAC East rival.
It's time now for the top 5 plays of the week, presented by ECMC. The difference between healthcare and true care. Number 5.
They keep this one close. A 38-25 game. Wilkins, who started to heat up from 3. That's 3 in a row for Courtney Wilkins as she drills a triple. 41-25, Buffalo starting to pull away with this one.
Number 4.
Dillard winds around a screen. She's got a much smaller Motkins on her. Looks to get past her. Now Motkins stays in front of her. Dillard now a beautiful pass down low to Onwuka, and Onwuka lays it off glass and in. Back up to a 9-point Buffalo lead.
Number 3.
And another turnover for Buffalo, but here's Dillard, who jumps the pass, gets the steal, gets some contact, no foul, goes back up this time, gets the and one. Good effort by Sierra Dillard, who gets the steal after Kent State tried to get an outlet pass, gets the rebound, and gets the shot to fall.
Number 2.
Dillard, a beautiful pass to Hemphill. She got the entire Kent State defense to bite as she head faked it to Wilkins, and an unbelievable pass to Hemphill as Summer goes off glass and in. How about that look from Dillard?
Number 1.
10 on the shot clock. Fakes right, now tries to go left, crosses back over, step back 3, hand in her face, and drills it. 72-61 as the Buffalo Bulls are back out on top by double digits as one of the best players in this country hops and skips back in transition after hitting a dagger 3-pointer to put the Bulls back out on top.
It's a big one here today, a 2 o'clock tip-off at Alumni Arena. Last year when UB and Central Michigan played here, it was one of the best games ever played in this building. We'll see what happens again today in this rematch of the MAC Championship. We want to pack the house. We'll see you here at Alumni Arena and next week on the UB Basketball Insider.